Billy Fulgham was sentenced to 35 years for 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder. A victim was left permanently disabled, wheelchair-bound, and experienced frequent seizures following the incident. Eventually, this victim died as a result of his injuries. After 20 years and with strong opposition from the victim's family, he is up for parole. Let's take a look. And if you like this video, please consider subscribing. Here we go.
My name is Billy Fulgham, and my DOC number is 51 511-707. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's correct. Mr. Fulgham, you're before this panel today for a hearing, and I'm going to read some information into the record, and then we're going to ask the people who are in support and opposition to you speak, okay? I find, sir, according to our information, you're a first felony offender. You are currently serving a 35-year, 3-month, 16-day sentence for 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder. You have a parole eligibility date, 7/23/2024, a good time date of 7/27/2033, and a full term date of 11/8/2039. Is that correct, according to what you understand?
Yes. Yes, that's correct.
That's correct. Okay. I would like at this point to ask the staff to introduce yourself, and if you would have some comments about the offender before we go on.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Captain Patrick Washington, State Police Barracks. Billy's been here for 14 years. One of the longest standing offenders we have in the program. And what I can say about Billy is he's rock solid. To be here for 14 years is, number one, an extreme accomplishment. That means he's never done anything to get himself in trouble. Number two, never had to ask Billy twice to do anything. We change his job, he says no problem. We ask him to go and work extra, he says no problem. Billy is what I would consider a model employee. One, like I said, he's been here 14 years, and that is in itself an accomplishment. But the fact that his attitude, his personality, the way that he carries himself is exemplary. I visit the offenders at work quite often, and if Billy's not working, he's reading. And if you didn't know he was here, you wouldn't know he was here. He's just that good at what he does, and he's just, again, an exceptional person, not just an employee, but an exceptional person. Thank y'all.
Thank you, sir, for your comments. At this time, we will go to Candace Greenwood, your sister, who's joining us via Zoom and would like to make comments on your behalf. Go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Candace Greenwood. I'm Billy Fulgham's sister. And first of all, I would like to sincerely apologize to the victims and their family. You guys have never left my mind since the evening this happened. My brother realized the severity of his crime 20 years ago and how it terribly impacted the lives of many people. I speak to my brother twice a week, and he has always been remorseful and has taken full responsibility for his action, realizing that the choice that he made is one that he'll mentally have to endure for the rest of his life. Billy doesn't take this day, this opportunity for parole for granted, but often speaks of someday integrating back into society and becoming a productive person. During his time at the police barracks, Billy has never been stagnant. He's busy reading countless books, continued his education, and always held a job. If granted parole, I ensure you my brother has total support of his family, making sure he continues to stay on track. I'm confident he is fully committed to living life of integrity and making amends for his past actions. Again, I would like to apologize to everyone who was affected by my brother, as you will always continue to be in my prayers every day. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you so much, Ms. Greenwood. We'll go to Billy Fulgham Sr., the offender's father.
Good morning. My name is Bill Fulgham. I'm BJ. I'm going to say BJ, but we refer to him as BJ, but Billy's father. And I'd like to to acknowledge and I recognize his guilt and the tragic events that happened that day. And there's no amount of apologies that we can give this family to change anything at this point. But I dearly we apologize for his actions, and I do believe at this point in time in his life that he has made amends, and he's got to live with this, but he's made amends, and I believe he's ready for this transition back into society. He has the full support of this family, and if allowed and given the privilege of parole, he will live with me and his stepmother in Olive Branch, Mississippi, where he will live in a stable, safe environment and with all the support resources he needs in order to transition back into society. So he has our full support, the entire family. His record in the DOC obviously has been impeccable. I talk to him as well once a week. He's very articulate and he's made that change. He's not what he was 20 years ago. But he understands, the impact he had on other people's lives, and that's something, like I said, he's got to live with. And I'm sure he'll do well if allowed and given the privilege to be paroled. So I thank you all for listening.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you being with us. You have Mr. Andrew Hundley here in support, or on Zoom in support with the Louisiana Parole Project, and we'll allow him to address the board.
Thank you for your time. Louisiana Parole Project is here today to voice our support for Billy's petition for parole and commit to providing our program and reentry support to Billy. As Billy's father told you, he has a long-term residence in Mississippi. Shall he be released? Our organization's here today to, offer our support in whatever reentry plan you would like to allow. We're, our recommendation is a temporary stay in our reentry program, and upon completing the first phase of our program, that he would be allowed to go to an approved ICOTS residence in Mississippi. But our organization's also willing to provide Billy longer housing if the board sees fit for that. Our organization's also willing to support Billy from afar if the board decides to send him straight to Mississippi. We'll provide him peer mentorship and work with his family to connect to resources in Mississippi if you decide that's the best plan. As far as our organization's, screening Billy, just to reiterate something Captain Washington said that I think is worth repeating, it's pretty exceptional that Billy has been at the State Police Barracks for 14 years. It's the closest you can get to being free is at State Police Barracks as far as being incarcerated in Louisiana. Many people don't last that long because the temptation to violate rules is easy for many people there. While Billy has had a couple different jobs, he's always been a cook while he's been there. And I always point out that someone who's a cook in prison and can be a cook that long has very good patience and character, because it's one of the most thankless jobs that you can have in prison. The last thing I'd like to note for the board is we believe that at Billy's age now, he's at the sweet spot, and because of his cooking skills and some of the other skills he has, he's very employable right now, and we feel confident based on his reputation, based on his skill set, that he would be able to re-enter successfully, find a job, and be able to have stable employment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fulgham. We also have people here on Zoom that are opposed to the release. Two of them would like to speak. We're going to allow Linda Reynolds, the victim's mother, to speak first. You're on mute still? Okay.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Linda. I'm the mother of Ray S. Denny Jr., and yes, I oppose it. Ray When Billy shot Ray, Billy shot my whole family. Ray has, a host of family that loved him. They are the person he was. I still have a hole in my heart. Where my heart is supposed to be, there's a hole. Because never in life would I have believed that someone would shoot Ray in the back of the head. Ray just wasn't that type of person. Ray was a peaceful person. He met no strangers. He always looked for the good in people. Always a good son, brother, grandson, cousin, nephew. Ray fed the homeless. He had 3 people that he would feed daily, twice a day. And he was serious about it. Ray fed them the meal of their choice. And I would say, well, why can't we just give them something from here? And he said, that's not what they eat. And if he couldn't bring them their food, Ray would ask me to bring the food for him. And they wasn't all in the same location. They was in different locations. Ray didn't drive. He didn't want to drive. He was on the bus and did this. He would say, Mom, make sure when you bring them their food, make sure it's hot and make sure it's on time. A week before Billy shot Ray in the back of his head, Ray ran into him on Canal Street. And Billy, this is said from Billy, that he asked Ray to buy him a burger. Ray told him, no, man, I'm going to get you a plate of food, pick a restaurant. He went to the restaurant with Billy. He let Billy order the food. He waited and he paid for the food when it came out. And Billy said that Ray told him, well, I'll pay you back. And this was Ray. Ray said, no, he said, I get paid every Monday. He said, if I need money before Monday, I can go to my mama or my grandma and get the money. And he left. And Billy shot my son Ray for no reason. Billy has shown no remorse or feeling of remorse. Billy haven't shown anything. In court, it was just like he was in a store. He's at Winn-Dixie and he said, I want this, I want that, I want that. No feelings, none. And Judge Bigelow asked me, what did I want? Did I want a jury trial or did I want a judge trial? At that time, we have so many of our young Black boys that's in wheelchairs. They're in jail. They just fell by the wayside. And I said to myself, I said that if this was one of my children, I have 2 sons. I had Ray and I have his brother, Jonathan. I said, and I know how hard I work with them being a single parent. And I said that I would want someone to show mercy on them and to help them. Don't just throw the key away. And so I told him, I said, you know what I want? I said, I want what he took from my son. I said, he has stolen, Ray was 30 when we were in court. I said, he has stolen 30 years from my son, and that's what I want back. My son was like an infant. Ray had to learn everything again, how to talk, walk, eat, just everyday necessities. Ray had a love for walking, for playing video games. Ray had a love for working. Sometimes I had to call him and say, come home. You've been there long enough. He had a love for drawing. After Billy shot him in the back of his head, he couldn't do any of these things anymore. I still want justice for my son. I want Billy to finish the time given to him. 35 years and 106 days. He, Billy, agreed to this time. If more can be added, add more. I'm begging the criminal justice system to work for my son, Ray S. Denny Jr. Ray was an absolutely innocent victim.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your comments today. And I do want to recognize that I believe it's your sister, Rosina Reynolds is with you, Ray.
Correct.
Okay. And also we have Jonathan Reynolds, the brother of Ray, who would like to speak. You'll keep it to about 2 to 3
Good
minutes.
morning, everybody. One thing that's been left out the entire time that we've been talking, there were 2 victims. The other family, I guess, Mrs. Burse's family is here. I don't even know if De'Allen Burse is still alive. I don't know. Second thing that's being missed here, my brother is dead. So I understand that the actual charge was attempted murder. My brother died May 13th, 2022. We buried him May 31st, 2022. Normally, when people die, you bury them within a week. We were not able to do that because he was being autopsied by the Orleans Parish coroner for those 2 weeks. I believe I sent the board the coroner's determination that this was actually a homicide. It was classified as a homicide. So we talk about full responsibility. We agreed to what full responsibility was all those years ago. We agreed that full responsibility was 30 years. We could have pressed for more with the DA's office. We did not. Billy Fulgham could have not accepted it. He could have went to trial. He did not. He accepted 30 years. I understand that the law in Louisiana has changed, and now we're able to revisit these things due to John Bell Edwards' work. Mr. Hundley, I don't know why his camera's off. That's okay. But hopefully he's listening. So I do understand what you're doing with your career, what you're doing with your organization. So the state has changed how we handle parole boards. I get that. Also, the circumstances of this case have changed fundamentally. The idea that the DA, if they wanted to, could reopen this case. I don't know how successful they would be, but the circumstances have changed, being that my brother has died and the coroner has classified his death as a homicide. So, Mr. Fulgham, I believe when we say full responsibility, we agree. Everyone in this room, I believe Fulgham Sr. wrote a letter, and he wrote a letter with an apology. You can't apologize and say full responsibility and then also try to change the terms of the deal. Apology not accepted. I didn't even want to be here today, but we talk about what Mr. Fulgham has done. He seems like he's in very good health. My brother was disabled, wheelchair bound. He had seizures throughout the rest of his life. He had no life enjoyment. He had no friends besides me and my mother. He was abandoned. We have not spoken with the Burse family since then. And he was unable to work. He was unable to earn. It affected my mom's livelihood. It affected my mom's mental health. It affected my livelihood. It affected my mental health. I had to move back to New Orleans to take care of him. That's why I'm back here. And now, at no point did I believe that I would outlive my brother. At no point did I think that he would be dead right now today. I went back to see his grave for the first time 2 days ago in contemplation of doing this meeting. And I had not seen it since the funeral. And the main thing that I just want to point out is full responsibility is what we agreed on all those years ago. You can't use words like full responsibility, regret, apology, and you're also trying to change the terms of the deal. So I get that the state of Louisiana has changed its rules on how parole is handled, but Billy Fulgham Jr. himself agreed to. This was not a jury. This was not a judge. He agreed to 30 years. We agreed to 30 years. We did not want to push the prosecution for more because there's different types of justice. There is a justice where it's like, what's fair, and we all agreed that this was fair. And then for us to be here today with us still grieving over my brother's death to this day, now we have to deal with this other issue of we thought that at least this part was settled. So you want to change it from 30 years to 15 years? The parole board has to do what it has to do, and I appreciate you guys' job, but you cannot apologize and say full responsibility, Fulgham family, and then also try to shorten the sentence. You got to pick one, and that's all I have to say.
Appreciate your comments. So this case has been assigned to Mr. Barra to ask some questions, but at this point, we'd like for Billy, if you want to say something. We've heard a lot of people talk about you, but we need to hear from you.
Okay, first of all, I would like to apologize through the board to De'Allen and her family. and to also Ray Denny's family for the crimes I committed. I completely destroyed their lives, and I took their peace and security away from them, and I left them psychologically, physically, and emotionally damaged. And I'm so sorry for what I did, and I take full responsibility, and there is no excuse. The crimes I committed were senseless, unnecessary, and unjustified. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about D. Allen and Ray Denny and everybody else involved, and how I negatively impacted their lives. I failed to address my drug addiction to cocaine. And because of that, I made a lot of bad decisions that ultimately led up to me making the worst decision of my life. At any time, I could have got help from my mother, sister, or dad, but I failed to do that because of my pride and arrogance. And my life just spiraled out of control. I was irresponsible, and like I said, there's absolutely no excuse for what I've done. I left these people's lives in shambles, and a ripple effect that I caused can last a lifetime. I'm aware of the severity of the crime that I committed. And I seen Ray Denny at my sentencing, and I got a firsthand look at just how much pain I caused his family when I seen him walk into the courtroom with a cane, and he was messed up pretty bad. And I'm just so sorry how I affected his life and took away everything from him. And he was a good person. I knew him for a long time, and I was friends with these people. And I betrayed them. And I could never do enough in prison. No matter how many programs I take, no matter how much good I do, I can never do enough to make up for what I've done. And whether I'm granted or not, I'm gonna continue to better myself and apply everything I learned from the victims awareness class I took, and just continue to apply it to real life. You know, be more compassionate to people and be able to identify with their pains, with their pain and joy. And I'm just so sorry for what I put this family through.
Thank you very much for those words. Mr. Barbaro.
Just for the record, I'm looking through it and I do see where the judge noted per the plea agreement that he ordered it to be 30 years without benefit of probation and parole or suspension of sentence, just like she had said and he had said. But my only question is, why? Is there any reason? Yeah, I know you thought about this. Why did you have to shoot him? That was a bad split second decision, but can you answer that one or you can't?
The reason why I did that is because I was at the lowest point of my life, and I was on drugs at the time, but I was conscious of what I was doing, and I was just gonna take everything. On July of 2004, I arrived at DeAllen's apartment, and Ray Denny was there. And I hung out with them for several hours. I got there around 3 o'clock in the evening, approximately 3 o'clock. And I hung out with them for several hours. And at some point I asked DeAllen to give me a ride to a friend's house. But the only reason why I asked that is just so we can get in the car. I didn't really need a ride to a friend's house. That was just, to get them in the car. And I intentionally told her to take a certain route that would lead us to an area that wasn't well lit. There wasn't much traffic. And when we got to the stop sign, I shot Ray Denny and I turned the gun on DeAllen and shot her. And after that, I got out. I exited the vehicle, opened up the driver's side door, and started taking DeAllen out of, started dragging her out of the car. And somebody passed by and they stopped and they sped up. So I got scared and just left the area. I threw the gun in the woods. And I called a friend on the phone. Now he didn't know what was going on, nothing like that. I never told him, but I asked him to come pick me up. And he came and I told him to take me to my car. I actually had my car parked down the road outside the apartment complex. And he took me to my car and I drove to a friend's house, another friend of mine's house. And he had seen what happened on the news. So he was shocked, about what I did. And he called his mother. And his mother came to the house and she talked me into turning myself in. I followed her to her house and I sat there for a little while and they talked to me. And she called the police and I turned myself in. But I was just gonna take everything from them. It was a robbery. But I got spooked when I saw this person pass by and stop and speed off. And I acted like a savage that day. And I'm aware of the severity of my crime. And like I said, no matter how much good I do in prison, I can never make up for what I've done. And I'm just extremely remorseful. And I mean that. I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because I can see the pain I caused this family and everybody else involved.
All right, that answers my question. Thank you. And then also for the record, somebody said they didn't know if DeAllen was still alive. She is still alive. She's not participating today because she didn't want to be re-traumatized, but she did write a letter, and she's been suffering the whole time too, dealing with fear and pain and just trying to live a normal life has been hard for her. And so she's still out there and she's still suffering too. Yeah. That's all the questions I had.
Mr. Tillis, do you have any questions to ask? At this time, the panel will vote. We'll begin with Mr. Barber.
Well, Billy, this is a hard case, one of the hardest ones I've had. And I do see the change and hear the documentation of the change. And I agree, you're not the same guy that you were back then. However, we got the victims still suffering, the victim's family still opposed, the judge reminding us that it's a 30-year deal. And so for that reason, I'm going to have to vote to deny your parole today, even though you do have a great record based on the suffering and the deal that was put in place. And maybe as we get a little bit closer to 30 years, try again. And congratulations on what you've done. You're doing a great job. I wish I could just reward you for it right now, but with all the other circumstances, the crime is just so serious. Sometimes people do things that are so serious that even what you've done isn't enough. And it's everything you can do. There's nothing else you can do. It's just a tough case. Sorry.
Okay.
Mr. Tillis.
Billy, I commend you for what you've done since you've been incarcerated. The state police has good comments on you. I can see the remorsefulness in you. I hope you continue. And you answered the question in your statement that drugs, and I think it was drugs. As you said, you can do nothing, classes and all that. My vote's going to be to deny, but I wish you well.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Fulgham, it would be remiss of us to not provide you with the encouragement. I'm going to deny as well, but I'm telling you, it's because you've served, what, 20 years?
Yes.
Yeah. You've only been in 20.
Okay.
And really don't think there's anything else you can do. But I appreciate your conduct. I appreciate what you're doing, and encourage you to write back. Today, your request for parole has been denied.
Okay, thank you.
I agree with the board's decision. Do you? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, please subscribe. Thank you. Until next time.